use of out on the field. And I got to talking as I was laying things out, but also I was a little confused about exactly how I might want to put the Confederates on the battlefield. So I had to actually put any of them on the battlefield because you noticed. So this is a reverse Bob Crick. Bob is capable of doing multiple day tours of some of the Fredericksburg area battlefields, and at the end of it, you have no clue who it was that the Army of Northern Virginia was fighting. There doesn't seem to be anybody except the Army of Northern Virginia on the field. So, a bunch of them have become casualties, but how did that happen? So, the reason I hesitated or didn't initially put them on was I was going to ask Dave and Glenn about this, but I think I'm going to go all the way back for just a moment and say, remember that that what Bragg originally ordered was that he wanted to get all 11 of the infantry divisions of his army overnight online, side by side to one another. From north to south. And his hope was, at day dawn, the first bit of daylight, that the northernmost of those divisions would jump off and attack. And as soon as that division moved, the next division would decide seeing it would attack, and then the next one, and then the next one, on down the line. And in fact, in Hindman's division, who we are looking at, there is even the statement by a couple of the brigade commanders that actually Manigault makes the statement that he was to move forward once the brigade on his right moved forward. So if you extend that beyond Hindman's division, then the idea would be that each brigade, one after the other from north to south. Of course, that doesn't happen. And we could spend the rest of the day also talking about whether or not that was such a good idea to begin with. But in the early morning hours of September the 20th, within James Longstreet's left wing, James Longstreet did indeed initially try to get his 6 divisions on line. That's what he was telling his division commanders he wanted them to do. Now, he actually wanted to do it a little bit differently, or actually, yeah, he's a little more specific, perhaps, than what Bragg had said, and what Longstreet had said he wanted to do. And I don't know if I've got enough guys here, and I'm going to blow the scale here really badly, but Longstreet said he wanted to get, each one of, I have to steal some of Polk's troops.
He wasn't using them.
Well, no, he doesn't actually steal them. But what he does is mash them together. So, but what Longstreet says that he ordered his division commanders to do was to get deployed, each division with 2 brigades up and 1 brigade back. But even that doesn't happen. And I bring all of this up because, this great big mass of Confederates that we're used to seeing on maps for September the 20th at the time of the breakthrough is something that comes about only very late and is hardly anything like that, even just moments before Longstreet sent Hood and Hindman forward.
We had a series of maps for just the Confederate that wing and no other troops on it at half-hour intervals, and could accurately depict the movements. It would look completely different each map, or not completely different, but considerably different each map.
There's a a lot of movement, including when Longstreet went out that morning. He found that and actually technically at that time, at dawn, there were only 5 divisions in his wing. So I'll remove those guys for a moment. He didn't find them anything close to that, and he was going to have to start making adjustments in the line, and he was trying to get Long's division up on the front line, and this will result in Longstreet shifting Alexander Peter Stewart's division over in front of Cleburne's left into Polk's sector, and only then causing an overlap of the 2 wing sectors and confusion between the 2 formations when they go forward. So, what we're going to eventually do is be out on the field and talk about Hindman's division, which how close I can get to moving this halfway right, but we're mostly going to look at Hindman's division here, which is indeed deployed in the 2 brigades up, 1 brigade back formation. But remember that all that kind of comes about at only a short time before the attack was actually launched. So, again, much more fluidity to this than is often recognized. We'll go from here down to the recreation field, or what is today the recreation field parking area here on the battlefield, and then we are going to walk eastward and into to Hindman sector, and then work our way back, following mostly the right Manigault's brigades. That's what we had talked about. So we'll mostly follow the right of Manigault's brigade in the attacks. So you want to add?
No.
Yes, sir.
You're showing the artillery, Hindman's artillery. Was it in a battalion, or were they the batteries decided to?
It was administratively in a battalion.
Okay.
It was by brigade for the battle.
Okay.
The Army of Tennessee is about halfway through the process of creating artillery battalions like the Army of Northern Virginia now, or has at this time. Right. They have been created on paper. The division chiefs of artillery and de facto division artillery battalion commanders are being named, have been named, but it is not yet refined to the same level as the Army of Northern Virginia, or that it would be in the Army of Tennessee by the following spring in the Atlantic campaign.
On September 20th even, we're getting a couple of officers who are coordinating their batteries and acting like a tactical artillery battalion. But that's the exception, not the rule.
Right.
I just need to interject. Don't bash the Alabamians too bad today.
Alabamans?
Especially Oates, if he comes into the picture.
Who? Better than the Mississippians. We're not even going to talk about any of them. That's right. He's doing his mid-war thing of wandering aimlessly on battlefield.
It's almost impossible to do a seminar in the woods without running across Colonel Oates somewhere. The other things I'll just make note of quickly. Rosecrans had his headquarters at the home of the young widow Eliza Glenn. But by the time we'll be talking about him, he has moved up to a command post in the Dyer Fields. Braxton Bragg had his headquarters at Bedford's Ford, but frustrated by the slow beginning of his day,
He had ridden forward, and by the time we are talking about him, he is over here just off of Brotherton Road where the Bragg headquarters shell pyramid is located today. So, other questions or observations? I guess we need to form our convoy again and get down to this.